Hello and welcome to the show with me, Gillian Dodson. And today my guest is Oleg Fomenko, who is the co-founder of Sweatcoin. Oleg, welcome to the show.
Hi, Gillian. Very good to be here.
Yeah, we met last year at Web Summit. I was very excited because I've been a Sweatcoin user for a long time, nearly 2,000 Sweatcoins on my phone. And it was great to meet you. And you kind of hinted at that stage what might be coming down the line. And now, obviously, you have gone live with the news that you're going to be going full on to cryptocurrencies. But before we get into the Sweatcoin app, the product, and where you're moving, just to understand a bit about you. You're Russian. You live in Lisbon in Portugal now. Your background, you've got a lot of big names: PepsiCo, Mars, Coca-Cola, and then you moved into tech. What was the move into tech? What was the impetus for that?
Oh, fantastic question. Well, first of all, yes, I'm Russian by birth, but I've spent a lot bigger part of my life actually living away from Russia. I do have family and relatives, of course, but I left Russia in 1995, so it's been very, very long time ago. And to be fair, I think most Russians, especially who don't know me, they're probably not consider me Russian, given the amount of time I spent abroad, and also my knack for losing the right sentence structure for the Russian language and trying to sort of take an English structure and kind of bring it in, or just Russify some of the English words. Anyway, that's on that. In terms of kind of my journey, yes, I started in marketing, and the simple answer and the simple reason for it was because that's the only thing that existed back in Russia when I started working. Russia just opened up. There were practically no kind of production facilities and companies. The only thing that they were doing, they were just sort of loading trucks and bringing them into Russia. So the only functions that existed were marketing and sales. So I went into marketing. And when I left in 1995, I worked for some time for Coca-Cola in Europe, including kind of covering Eastern European region. And then I left and I joined Boston Consulting Group, BCG, in London, where I got the flavor of working in tech. Projects that I was involved in had a significant chunk of kind of working technology, transforming technology, post-merger integration of technology departments. And I absolutely loved it, and given the fact that I was born in a small town that is, kind of populated largely by, kind of engineering-minded people, and both of my parents are engineers, and I have a knack for this, I kind of felt rather natural in that space. So when I left BCG and I started building my own businesses, they were from get-go in technology field. And as soon as I got my British passport, I immediately sort of abandoned all attempts at employment and went sort of all in, starting businesses, experimenting, trying, culminating in kind of my previous business called Bloom FM that got to quite a considerable scale. We got to about 1.2 million users in the UK, and it was music streaming. And after unfortunate demise of that business, that gave me an opportunity to go for a run, realize how ludicrously unfit I became, and started thinking of that. And that resulted in sort of creation with my co-founders of Sweatcoin.
Okay, so I love this, and you were quite shocking, as in sort of guerrilla shocking, when you're talking about Sweatcoin, talking about why don't people run, why don't people do things? And you were talking about yourself and your co-founder Anton were talking about there's this sort of present bias, so you need gratification. So running's good, not smoking's good, not drinking's good, but how do you get the gratification? And so you come up with this idea of it's like having an orgasm. As you pointed out, the human race might cease to exist if the orgasm didn't exist, which is actually a really interesting concept. And you applied, you said you're the orgasm for exercise. So how does Sweatcoin first evolve?
Lovely question. Definitely sends me back and sort of makes me smile, because you know that some of the most interesting businesses, I think they were born out of a personal problem that founders experienced. And this has certainly been the case with Sweatcoin. As I mentioned to you, yeah, I went for a run and I could barely complete 5K without sort of holding onto my chest and kind of going, holy shit, what's going on? Why can't I run 5K? Just 3 years before, I was able to climb some of the highest mountains in the world. Me and my brother, we did 4 out of 7 summits challenge, and they were amazing, fit as a fiddle. And all of a sudden, I can't complete 5K. Why is that? And I started sort of thinking, doing research, behavioral economics, and nudge theory. All of that, sort of came into fore, and we very quickly honed down on the real problem that we were trying to solve. And the real problem is, people think, when they think about their physical activity, that it's them that is failing. They think, oh my God, I don't have enough motivation, I don't have enough energy, or I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. Kind of different people have sort of different excuses, but they generally kind of take responsibility upon them and they feel rather bad about it. The reality is, it's very, very different. Nature doesn't want you to move. Nature did not build you to move. Nature built you to survive. And that means not burning calories, but preserving them, because that would guarantee your survival and existence for a longer period of time. So nature, in order to enforce this as a sort of dominant pattern of behavior, gave us this behavioral feature that would now be considered by most people a behavioral bug, called present bias, where you focus on right here, right now, and you only run if there is a mammoth, food, or if there is a saber-toothed tiger, so you are about to become food. Otherwise, you sit in front of the fire and you preserve those calories as opposed to squandering them. Now, we also know that there is only one way of dealing with present bias or becoming present bias. And how do we know that? Because nature had to deal with, another behavior that is badly affected by present bias. It's procreation. So nature, as you've alluded in your question, had to create an orgasm for us, an instant gratification, in order for us not to screw that bit up. And by giving us this instant gratification, it, we continue to do what nature wants us to do, procreate. So we're still around. Nature didn't give us an instant gratification in exchange for exercise. Well, some people would argue that there are endorphins, etc., but the impact is a lot more subtle, and it takes quite a lot longer for people to really start feeling endorphins. So, well, definitely not as impactful as an orgasm. So that's how we kind of arrive to it. If there is an orgasm, we're not screwing up on procreation. There is no orgasm for exercise, we are screwing that bit up. How can we create something that is very, very rewarding? Of course, orgasm for exercise is just sort of nice sounding pitch, but what could be the next best thing? And we arrive to, very strong, very universally and simply understandable reward, which of course is financial. And, we've created our own money currency called Sweatcoin, and the rest is history. We're soon approaching 100 million users, which is an amazing testimony to how universal the appeal of this concept is.
So when you first set up Sweatcoin, did you think about blockchain and cryptocurrencies? Were they there from the start, or did it come afterwards? Which came first?
Well, it was there from the very beginning. I looked at crypto or Bitcoin as early as 2011. And to my shame, I got really, really hooked on technology and really didn't think that Bitcoin as a token, as a store of value, would be as successful as it is right now. So, the name Sweatcoin does suggest that already in 2015, we were thinking about blockchain as sort of the environment to build this in. And even the original idea, if you're technically minded or if your audience is technically minded, I can potentially sort of go into that. But basically, mining of Bitcoin is happening by the CPU, the processor, changing this number in the block called nonce. And it increments, and you're seeking to calculate hash that needs to meet certain conditions. So what our original thought was, well, can we actually, instead of simply processor increasing that nonce number and giving you an opportunity to calculate that block and therefore earn those Bitcoins, could we make that nonce increment conditional on an evidence of the physical activity? Can we make real mining of crypto based on sort of pedometer? Unfortunately, it's quite an interesting idea, but very, very hard to implement technologically. But the idea stuck because we started talking to people and they were like, wow, you want to create currency that is not backed by the burning of electricity, but burning of calories? Ooh, this is really cool. This, I like the idea. So, we had to abandon that sort of technological aspect, initial technological sort of thought of it, and come up with something, sort of very, very different later on. But, kind of the idea, the MVP or minimum viable product of giving you reward or instant gratification practically immediately after you taking a stab has proven to work. We make people 20% more active after installing the app versus before. So, the concept is working, the business is working. As I mentioned, we're, quickly approaching 100 million users. We're working with 600 different companies that are accepting Sweatcoins effectively as a payment. And what's most important is that all of our users are showing the pattern of becoming more physically active. So our mission of making the world more physically active is, pretty safe. The product is working. And yeah, I didn't mention that we're profitable. So it's possible to pay people to walk and actually have a sustainable business.
Wow. In the beginning, were the rewards that were earned, were they more like air miles? They were, and you had partnerships with different companies, is that correct? So as you earned, you could purchase.
Yeah.
Tell me about the partnerships you had actually. What are the things you could purchase originally?
Yeah, no, the first company that we worked with was called Viva Barefoot, which is a British shoe manufacturer. And, I happen to know founders that absolutely loved our mission because, of course, they're a shoe manufacturer, and making people walk more is, is great. They very much understand the ethos, but it's also good for them, from business perspective. So we had quite a lot of pairs of their shoes that you could basically just buy with Sweatcoins. So it's not discounts really that we're focusing on. Yes, there are some products that are discounts, but it's free products that you might end up paying just for the postage of. But it's you can get stuff absolutely free. So, and then we started working with restaurants. We started working with a lot of brands that do nutrition, vitamins, healthy food, sports equipment, fashion, accessories, dog accessories. Nearly 50% of our users they own dogs. So, anything dog related is extremely popular. So as I mentioned, we're working with 600 plus companies that if your audience is thinking about their body and, thinking about their movement, we are very, very interesting client or channel for these brands to work with us, because they can really target their products well. If you're a product for somebody who wants to be active, you put a low price. If you are a product that is for sort of the ultra marathon runners, you put a really, really high price, because you can only people who are moving a lot and generating a lot of movement are going to be able to get that balance. And it's not claimed behavior. It's not like, ooh, I feel like I like fashion today. No, you either walk or you don't, and there is no way to target based on clicks. We're targeting you based on your actual proven physical activity.
So how do the financials work? So I've earned 100 sweat coins. I want to buy a pair of trainers that cost 100 sweat coins.
Yeah.
How do the monies work between you and your partners?
Oh yeah. So, basically partners are giving you this product because they really value your custom, because they know that you on Sweatcoin have already very, very high propensity and affinity with them as a brand. And if you have an appropriate balance in addition to that, that is an additional evidence of you being the right person. And then you spending on them, on their product, you feeling like you're getting an amazing deal, and you are going to put your custom into them for quite a long time. Imagine that you walk out of the train station and somebody gives you free pair of trainers. You're going to feel rather dubious about it. But if you sweated over something for several months, and the net effect of you getting those sort of trainers is the same as if somebody's given it to you for free, the actual feeling, the emotional engagement and appreciation of the brand is completely different. So in a nutshell, they are paying to us as a community in these free goods because they value bringing in millions of people to their brand.
Okay, so I'm a trainer brand. I'm giving is it like loss leaders to gain to earn customers, so that hopefully I will buy more trainers, or I won't have enough sweat coins, so I'll pay the okay, that's interesting. So now you are moving though into actual cryptocurrency. So
finally. only 7 years later.
Well, it's an overnight success.
Yeah.
What is the thinking behind it? And then tell me a bit about why the NEAR protocol.
Sure, great questions. Well, I mean, the thinking was there from the very beginning. We wanted it to be a currency. We wanted it to be freely tradable, flowing, currency that is not dependent on us as a sort of centralized issue of it. And the reason for it is because we very, very quickly in our first conversations realized that when I say your movement has value, people nod. You nod right now. I mean, this is one of those things that of course, physical activity is valuable. It makes me healthier. It puts me in a better mood. My family values it because if I'm healthier in a better mood, they are primary beneficiaries. Your healthcare provider values it because you're not going to go to doctor nearly as many times. Your insurer values it because you're going to be calling in sick and kind of having health issues, or you're going to live longer. So it's amazing for insurance. Your employer loves it because you're calling in sick less, you're in a better mood, you're more productive. Your country loves it because of the fact that you're going to live longer, and ultimately you're going to be pay more taxes, right? So movement, physical activity, especially in this time of epidemic of sedentary lifestyle, is valuable, and it is growing in value. Now we can talk about it, and everyone sort of feels like, of course it's valuable. You should run, you should move. But all of these are just words and platitudes. Now, what if we were able to tokenize, digitize your physical activity, really turn it into something that can be exchanged, when you can pay your doctor in sweat, when you can pay part of your taxes to the government in sweat, because actually it's a good deal, because they know that you taking care of yourself, you're contributing to the lowering of healthcare costs, and you're going to live longer, and your tax revenues over time are going to be higher. So there are a lot of interesting sort of economic exchanges that are right now not powered by anything of value, but just words and some motivations that will start to exist. And ultimately, we believe that there is there is an economy of movement, there is an economy of physical activity that should exist. Because if your population is physically active, that is actually adding to the GDP of the country, because your average life expectancy goes up, your economic activity will go up, the average mood is going to go up, productivity, blah, 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 blah. So it does have economic value. So by tokenizing it, by creating sweat that is backed by the value of physical activity, we will unlock an incredible amount of value and allow all of us to participate in it and to create economic exchanges, and therefore, opportunity to make money that don't exist right now. I'm really, really excited about this.
So, okay, so that makes, and actually that is the whole thing about cryptocurrency, isn't it? That your passion is what generates the token, generates the value. And this is a great example of it. And it's not just a passion for exercise, it's a passion for health, everything that goes with it. And again, also beating obesity and all of that. I mean, we know now that sitting is the new smoking, all those things that we do in our lifestyles.
Exactly.
Are not great.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're looking at going on to cryptocurrency proper, and you decided to look at the NEAR protocol.
Yes.
Why did you choose NEAR? What attracts you to NEAR?
Great question. We've done a lot of work. As I mentioned, 2015, we're already thinking of blockchain. We looked at Bitcoin, we looked at Ethereum. Back in 2015, 2016, we decided that we're going to go centralized because it was faster and cheaper. It saved our life, that decision, in 2017 when we exploded in popularity and we started processing several hundred transactions per second at peak, which is, order of magnitude higher than either Bitcoin or Ethereum could deliver. So we actually just looked at each other and kind of went, "Ooh, that was lucky." And every year, pretty much from that moment, we were looking into blockchain space, looking at protocols and technologies and their throughput, their ability to support us as a project. And until last year, there was nothing that we could even remotely call this is a technology that could potentially support our scale. And last year, all of a sudden, there was Solana, there was Avalanche, there was NEAR, and we just sort of got really excited, and we started again a project where we evaluated, as we normally do. We look at quite a lot of aspects. We look at the technology, of course, but we also look at the philosophy and the kind of mission of the company, and we look at the team, especially founders, but kind of the size of the team, nature of the team, etc. And one thing that was absolutely striking with NEAR, and kind of is a massive contribution to our decision, is the fact that it's not just a great tech. It's fast. It is very, very cheap, and it is also ecological. Kind of this you can say about quite a lot of different chains these days. But what was kind of really sort of differentiated and very pleasant discovery for us is the mission, because their mission is to take Web3 into mass market. They are using this really, really cool sort of phrase, mass market is near. And, they really are serious about not dealing with, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or low millions, which is, the highest scale that any Web3 project has right now. But they're really thinking about tens of millions, hundreds of millions. So the scale at which we operate. And, you can see it in what they do, because they're really spending a lot of time on user experience. Their wallet creation is some of the best in the, among Web3 projects ever, which is absolutely fantastic. But they're also really, really thinking about sort of speed and nuances of that user experience and how it's going to work that I haven't seen others doing. And we also hit it off with the founding team. They're absolutely amazing. Ilya, Alex, Marik, all sort of fantastic people that we absolutely love dealing with. And yes, we are sort of commercial partners, but I can totally see them being friends. The more this relationship develops.
And would the Sweatcoin community then be one of the bigger communities that are going to be onboarded onto Near? I mean, you've got 150 million as users. That's a large community.
Yeah, no, sorry, we're just shy of 100 million.
100 million. It's still a big number. I added another 50 to
the
number.
No, absolutely. And we've already created, since we announced on the 12th of April, we have already created more than 8 million wallets on Near, which is huge number. I think that's probably approaching about 10% of all Web3 wallets that exist on all chains taken together. So, we're definitely really, really big. And that is sort of one of the big reasons why I think Near project and Near ecosystem is very, very excited that we're building on them, because we're going to bring a lot of users that brings in sort of an impetus and the reason for these projects to build on Near, because you have a lot of users. It's not an ecosystem of thousands, tens of thousands. It's ecosystem of millions. Wow. So it's going to be massive impact for Near. I'm absolutely sure of that. But we also are kind of talking and working with other chains who are very, very keen to offer to our users products and services that they have, be it airdrops, be it NFTs, in kind of with interest to, hopefully get these people to not just stick to Near ecosystem, but to be on Near and on their blockchain as well.
And so if people want to start earning Sweatcoins, which they should do, what's the easiest way? You can download it on iOS and Android.
Android, yeah.
And it's free to download, and then just start walking. Just start walking.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, just go into App Store or Google Play, type Sweatcoin, and that's going to be us. We're global, and you're going to see we have really, really high ratings. So it's not some sort of shilling of an application that hasn't been well sort of developed and well honed. So yeah, and it's free. Just start walking and make sure that you do one thing. And this is definitely an ask from all of those listening and who's going to become our users, that you are becoming more active, since it's our mission. So if you're not active, I would rather you not install. If you're not thinking of becoming more active, I would rather you just not install and wait for the right moment.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm using it a long time now. I seem to be walking more these days because I'm going, oh, these coins are great. I forgot
Absolutely. And soon you're going to be able to get one sweat, which is going to be our crypto token, for every one Sweatcoin that you'll have in your wallet at TGE, which is happening this summer, literally within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Brilliant. Well, I'm very excited. Thank you very much. A long-time user. It's more relevant now. It's getting going. And thank you so much for your time, Oleg.
It's absolute pleasure, Gillian. And you're our OG.
With emphasis on the O, but we won't go there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.